Hey everyone, welcome back to Little Shop of Nerds. I'm Julia.
Mike?
So, I'm going to go ahead and give you the hint, and then we have a bit of a disclaimer that we need to do. So the hint last week was, do you always have cookies? Why? Do you want one? So,
Alright.
we're actually going to be talking about this movie that just came out in December called BABYGIRL. So the disclaimer is that we are going to be talking about some pretty heavy kink community things because that's what this movie was about. It was definitely better than 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey was the worst film
It didn't.
to showcase the BDSM community.
No, and trust me, it didn't.
This movie also did not do the best, but it also was definitely better than 50 Shades of Grey. A lot of people have said that it was better, but there were some things that they definitely could have done better.
Yes.
I'm not too familiar with the community like that.
I know somewhat.
Mike's been doing a little bit of research.
I know somewhat, but I'm not 100% knowing of it. Like I said, if you want to learn about it, I recommend look up Evie Lupi. She has a lot of stuff about the community. There's also,
I'll put her the link to her channel. Like, we're not getting a shout out from her or anything like that, but we will put the link to her channel down in the description below, so you guys can go and watch her videos if that is see or look up or whatever. What?
Oh, before I was going to, there's also one called What's the Safe Word Podcast is also another.
Okay, so we'll put those down in the description box below. That way, if you guys do want to go watch their videos and do your own research, there you go.
Read up, and also go to, if you're on Facebook or any, there are some groups that have BDSM groups on there. They have chat rooms, but make sure if you do those, be very careful. There is a couple of them that are fakes, so make sure you find the ones that are actually percent real.
Yeah. So the movie, like I said, it's called BABYGIRL. It stars Nicole Kidman as the main protagonist. She is a CEO of her own company, who is always in a position of power. She does eventually get into a relationship with an affair with one of her interns, who kind of shifts the dynamic between them, to where she's the submissive one and he's the dominant one. And I don't think that this movie kind of just showed, I think that the movie showed that they both didn't really know what to do in a dominant submissive relationship.
And I kind of picked up on that too. Like, there was a couple things that were I think was okay, but I did not think it was okay. But we'll get to that, the reason why. But the most thing I did see was the dude breaks a cup and he tells her to get on her hands and knees to pick it. I'm like, okay, one, a true dom would never do that because I feel like that's too dangerous in a certain situation.
Yeah. So let's just get into it. So if you hear that, that's my boyfriend's PS5. Somebody is sending him an invite to join, and they don't stop sending invites, and it's annoying. So it starts off with Nicole Kidman on top of her husband. Her name is Romy. Her husband is played by Antonio Banderas.
which should play the Phantom in Phantom of the Opera. I don't know why.
God, I would have loved to have had a Spanish Phantom. I think I said that before when we did our video on Phantom of the Opera, but it was definitely, I definitely would have loved a Spanish Phantom.
And her husband pretty much plays as a director, a Broadway play director, pretty much. So I'm like, all right.
Yeah, she owns her own business where they're doing. It's a lot of things with like AI, robots, and stuff like that, where they just try to. I'm not exactly sure exactly what they're doing.
Wait, you saying that?
Like they're like packaging or something like that.
So a bunch of robots are taking people's jobs. The robotic magic.
But then it does look like they had quite a few people who worked there. So anyway, so they bring in a batch of. Okay, so she's going to work. Well, okay, so she's sleeping with her husband. They finish. And then after he falls asleep, she immediately goes out into the living room and she pulls out her laptop and she just starts going to town on herself.
Well, technically, he finished. She did not.
That's why I said that they finished.
No. What?
Well, he finished. She did not get her rocks off. So
yep.
That's what they're doing. They're going and doing that.
And the next day they bring in all the interns.
Well, don't forget she saw one of the interns stopping a dog attack.
Yes, that is true.
Which is where it came out with so Chewie is a little upset because his toy's probably fallen over there somewhere. Don't get it. But so he stops the dog attack, which is where our hint came from.
Yes, and you can kind of think the dogs and him symbolize something if you want to say that, but it could be, could not be, who knows.
So then all the interns come in. She sees the guy that stopped the dog attack. She asks him, and he's like, well, I just had a cookie. And she's like, do you always carry cookies? He's like, do you want one? And she's like, no. So then he chose her. Okay, so they had like a holiday party. One of the actors, which played their oldest daughter, she is as the eldest, who I think was a lesbian. Because we'll get to that in a minute.
In one way, they're at a party and they're pretty much her and the intern are on the roof having a talk or two, and they go back, and I think she goes to her husband's play, and I don't know what happened.
It's kind of like confusing because it does go through it like real quick, like what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, he does choose her to be his mentor, even though she wasn't supposed to be on the list. But they put her on the list anyways, and he chose her to be his mentor. And then while they were sitting in the little room having their meeting, at the end of the meeting, he does kiss her. And they're both trying to fight it so, like, they're trying to, they're trying to stop it. And they both know that they can't.
Uh-huh.
So, it does end up eventually, like, this is probably going to be a short video, just because so much happens in, like, so little time. And, because it is a 2-hour movie. But they do go through, like, it shows how she gets involved with him, how he is trying to, he actually threatens to turn her in. And she's like, no, because then that's going to ruin my career.
Yeah, and And there was a moment with one of her assistants, whatever her name was,
towards the end, yeah,
saying she's like, I don't care what you do, but she's saying you're ruining women. I'm like, okay, one, okay. Here's the thing: you can still be a feminist, but
yeah.
you can still be kinky. You could be a dom, you could be a sub. It doesn't affect your role. But what stays in the bedroom stays in the bedroom. But when you're out in public, that's who you are.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, it's none of your business what she does.
Yes.
It's not ruining imaging of women.
Yeah, so basically what was going on was...
You could say it's empowering women's sexuality, pretty much.
I mean, yeah, you could. But basically, because, I mean, there are people in a position of power who do want to be submissive. Just because they're just so tired of always being in charge, and they just want...
To be taken...
to have a break, to be taken care of.
Yeah, it's like... But like I said, there's different types of doms and submissive. It's not always whips, chains, or I wouldn't say chains because no, not unless you. Anyways,
Don't even go there, Mike.
Like I said, it's not all about the whips, the flogs, or the spatterings. Like it could be just a simple yes, no. It could be just relaxing.
Yeah, like the first time that they actually were going to do whatever it was, because like she did admit to her husband at one point, I've never had an orgasm with you.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, and he like knew that he was faking.
Yeah.
But he's trying to help him, but they were talking so fast. I'm like, I'm like, can you guys like everything's going all at once? You're like not getting the clear picture.
Yeah. So, the first time that her and Samuel get together was in like a dingy little hotel room, and he put her in a corner because I think she was being a brat.
Yes, and that's also another thing called brat and brat tamer.
Yeah. So, he does end up like he does get her to climax. And I think that was the first one that she's ever had that somebody gave her, and not that she had to get by herself.
No.
And so she really she enjoyed it, which I think is the reason why they just continued to just keep doing what they were doing. But eventually she does tell her husband that she was having an affair with someone. She did not tell him who she was having an affair with. She just said it was like some stranger. She didn't know his name. He kicked her out of their apartment, and she went and she stayed in this I think it's like a vacation home for them or something like that. And she was staying there. Samuel does come out there. I don't think they do anything. They kiss, but I don't think they have sex or anything like that.
No, and the husband finds.
Yeah, so Jacob shows up.
And they had like a little bit of a fist fight, which I'm like, you kind of deserve it, bro.
Yeah, so they had a little fist fight, and then they just kind of like they all calmed down, and they had a conversation.
Yeah, and Jacob kept saying she used you, dude, and I'm like, oh, kinda, she did.
She did, yeah. I definitely, and I think Samuel knew that she was using him as well, which is why he wanted to keep ending it. But then she also wanted to stop it too. So it was like they didn't know what they wanted, and it was just it could have been more thought out better. But anyway, so Samuel does end up getting transferred to a different company. And I think he ended up going to Tokyo. And this one guy named Sebastian. I don't know who he is.
He was a dick, pretty much.
Was he like an investor or something?
I don't know. He could have been one of the bosses. Who knows? Tried to. He might know her secret, and pretty much she just said, "No, I don't give a fuck."
Mm.
And if what you did to me, like, if I'm going to be humiliated, I'd rather pay someone to humiliate me.
Yeah. So then it does end up with her husband basically doing the exact same thing that Samuel was doing to her. And that's how the story ends. Okay, so, like, okay. I can kind of understand that. Okay, so I am not condoning cheating in any way, but I can kind of understand where she's coming from. Like, why she did what she did, but it doesn't make it right. So it's kind of like with Sebastian Sallow, with what he did to his uncle. It wasn't right, but I can understand why he did it.
I kind of don't condone the why what she was doing. Understood, but here's the thing. This is also why I'm not. I do like to partake in the BDSM community. I went to a couple kinky events. Pretty awesome and pretty nice to see, by the way.
And just tell all of our subscribers, all 61 of them.
Who fucking cares, right? I think barely our subscribers watch us. But either way, if you want to know about it, like I said, there's I don't know a lot about it, but I know some.
There are some websites and stuff like that you can join.
But also, just remember, it's not about physical, it's not about sexual, it's also about understanding and the emotion of your partner, pretty much. That's what the BDSM is trying to do. It's trying to bring you close to your partner and understanding the wants and needs behind the emotions than the sexual attention.
Yeah. So, the one thing that I did notice that they kind of got right was the safe word. You should always have a safe word. I know that. And the safe word that she used was her husband's name, Jacob.
Which is kind of messed up.
So, but in a way, I guess maybe it was just showing that he's also her safe space.
Oh, that
even
too.
If they used his name as a safe word. Because Samuel was okay with it. He's like, your husband's name? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, okay. So, yeah, definitely. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good.
I give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I probably would give it a 6 out of 10 too.
It moved too fast, and I get the idea it's a sexual movie, but it's just like...
Oh, there was that one time where she started to stalk him. There was a part in the movie where she started to stalk him because he was trying to end it, and she didn't really want to end it. So I guess he was working part-time as a bartender, and she went into the bar where he was working, and they had to ask her to leave because he didn't want to see her.
Yep.
So yeah, don't do that. If someone tries to end something, like if you're in a like a relationship like that, and whether you're submissive or you're dom, if like your partner tries to end it, don't be creepy about it.
Yes.
And just let it go.
Yeah. And but I also, before we end this, I also recommend safe words. But if you're starting out, do some research. We'll put the people to look up online, and I also recommend vetting. Vetting is like pretty much like background checks. Mm-hmm. Pretty much trying to get to know of the person. And also, if you ever do go to these places that like a kink place or something, if a guy says, "I'm your dom now, get on the floor," do not do that. That is a false dom right there in the making. Because if he's not doing the proper venting and don't allow safe word, get away from him or her immediately.
Yeah, just be careful, because I mean there will be people out there who just want to use dom as an excuse to just like abuse people.
Yeah, and like I said, if they do not offer safe word, leave.
Yeah.
Because people do get hurt if you don't do this.
And I'm sure, like, I don't have a lot of experience on this, but I'm sure that a real dom would actually take into consideration on what you're comfortable with.
Yes.
And don't just...
Yes. And there's some doms and submissives who will do the red light, green light method, which is, green is good, yellow is not, it's okay, but I don't know how I feel about it. Red is no.
So just do your research. I'll put those links in the comment or in the description below, so you guys can check out their channels.
Yes.
I mean, other than that, like, I do think that this movie did a lot better job than 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey is definitely not a...
Pretty much, it's just a housewife's fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, 50 Shades of Grey did start off as a Twilight fanfiction. In case y'all didn't know that, 50 Shades of Grey did start off as a Twilight fanfiction. Just like Twilight started off as a wet dream that Stephanie Meyer was having. Okay?
What
that's what we ended up with. You see what we ended up with when Mormon housewives have wet dreams? Yeah, we ended up with Twilight.
Oh, yeah.
What?
That and also The Secret. There's a reality show about Mormon wives now.
Oh, yeah, The Secret, or Sister Wives.
Whatever it is, I don't care.
Yeah, I just know a little bit about it. But anyways, that is our video on Baby Girl. It is on Max. I would probably actually recommend you watching it if you can get past all the sex. Because there is quite a bit of it.
Oh yeah,
that's how the movie opens up.
Even some of the music sound like someone's having an orgasm.
Yeah. So it was definitely. I mean, it's definitely worth at least a watch once.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I was like watching this. I'm like, and hearing all the stuff going on. I'm like, I'm so glad I live alone right now.
Yeah, I just hope nobody heard me because I don't live alone. But okay, so next week's hint is going to be Michael Kidd. So we are now getting into Pride Month. So Pride Month will be all LGBT movies up until the end of the month. That way, so you guys know that we support our LGBT community, friends, viewers, whatever. We support you. So that is next week's hint. And we will see you guys later. Bye.
Bah.